Push forward for 𝐼𝐞𝐥𝐜, all range, but 𝐼𝐞𝐥𝐜 chime in to keep 𝐶𝐻𝑒𝑚𝐴 safe. Oh, nice little assist, and there's the off angle. 𝘘𝐸, masterful hold.
That's really nice. Big response, make it so uncomfortable for 𝐸𝐸 here as well, so they can safely get out of the water now and look to try and splash back on this. ＫυЗZ amped up today.
A linchpin position. Both of his teammates down in the drink. He needed to be able to hit those shots, and he did. 𝐼𝐞𝐥𝐜 with the list to keep the players safe. 𝐶𝐻𝑒𝑚𝐴 now on the south side. Once 𝐸𝐸𝐜 have to move, which they do, their position is going to get a lot stronger, Jackie. At the moment, it's quite timorous because of the position of 𝐸𝐸𝐜, but that is going to be pushed out by the zone.
𝐸𝐸𝐜 responds again. That fight does continue between the two sides, taking casualties amongst each other, whilst 𝐼𝐞𝐜 are fighting 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐞 from range. We cut back over to the POV at 𝐶𝐻𝑒𝑚𝐴. ＫυЗZ, the off angle towards the back, and doing great work. Cover flares coming in as well to try and bolster that defense for 𝐸𝐸𝐜.
And just trying to put themselves right on the edge of the zone and maybe try and wait it out, wait out the bleed down. But there comes the Wolves with a cheeky thread on.
अनीता मोबाइल दो ना
मोबाइल दे
ए चार्जर दे चार्जर
Angle across the zone there, right through the valley, and Kevin now has a little bit of trouble. 𝐸𝐸𝐜 are low, they don't really have the sightlines. This is an opportunity for 𝐶𝐻𝑒𝑚𝐴 to actually move forwards and maybe look for the res, but it's still such a risk. I don't think they're going to go for it here, Jackie.
Have all the information they need to make the call. Oh, Waldo 𝐼𝐞𝐜 going big on the peak. Wolves thought they were safe, thought they had an opportunity to third by and steal some 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐿ims from across the game here, but no, 𝐼𝐞𝐜 rock up onto them. 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐼m's job playing very differently right now.
That's what you need to be doing here with those 8 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐼ms, with all 4 of their players alive, the only team to have the full squad in action. This is the last chance as we're on board with 𝐶𝐻EMA to get this res. I don't think it's going to happen. He will bleed out, so 𝐶𝐻EMA playing with 2. That's pretty nasty. They did have an opportunity to move forwards and maybe take more control here. 𝐸𝐸𝐜 helped out by the zone again as 𝑁𝐠HIN Red Force on the north side get cut in across the road from everything. 𝐼𝐞𝐜 are going to have to move as 𝐼𝐸𝐼𝐼m𝐴.
Shots from the side of 𝑁𝐠HIN. That's easy. 𝑘𝐸, good work done with the AUG. Saw the reposition from 30K, setting up the vehicles, and they'll take the scrap too. And that's a 3-man squad there. Like you say, what a bad position to be in as well with the shift on the zone. And they clean up, find the follow-up onto Joker. So 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐼m𝐴 down and out, not the Rondo masterclass that you've seen from them happening here.
No, but 11 points is still very respectable, Jackie. They will be able to put up a good start to proceedings. Guarantee they're on the front page. The question is, who's going to join them? Shots ring out, continuing to put pressure on 𝐸𝐸𝐜. We're struggling to march forwards. 𝐶𝐻EMA don't have vehicles to their name. They are really still just waiting on 𝐸𝐸𝐜 to have to move, and that is the first indicator that they are going for it. They should know that there's only 2 players over there, and 𝐶𝐻EMA can start to move forwards now, and I need them to be able to do that, right? Something that we were criticizing them for was being a little bit timid, being a little bit shy, and so now stepping forwards at the right time, that's what they need to be doing, and it looks like that's what 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐼's gone for. As the rest of the teams joust across the zone, 𝐼𝐞𝐜 have to descend on one side of the hill or the other. The question is, which do you choose?
The zone coming in. 𝐼𝐞𝐜 on the rocks, being peppered down from 𝑁𝐠HIN Red Force. It's keeping them very weak, making it uncomfortable for the hard commit on the wrap, but eventually they've got to push up. They're going to be somewhat exposed here as well. If they're aligned in their crosshairs, they could punish. Thankfully, the map geo providing just enough cover for them to tuck in. 𝐶𝐻EMA, you touched on it before. When does that change? That mindset going to come alive? Because if they don't start to get a bit of a periphery scan on the go here, you could have 𝐸𝐸𝐼𝐼 wrap in around the back, possibly put pressure onto them. Just remove them from the equation before they even try and make a move for themselves.
I mean, they really can't move until Ragnarok does either, which is the nasty thing for them. It is causing a lot of problems. They can redistro ammo for 𝐷𝐷𝐷, and 𝐼𝐸𝐵 not going to push too far forwards. They know that the angles from Nongshim are still going to be in action, and they can't afford to overpeak to get a little bit too bold because they have got their numbers advantage, and they don't want to let it go to waste. But an opener onto 𝐷𝐷𝐷 could open up their south rotate, and with the circle pushing towards them, that's going to help out nicely. But Nongshim look to strike to open the door, but they're crossing of the road and bring 𝐼𝐸𝐵 back down to 3 with them.
Bated breath for a lot of our players right now, knowing how close they are to potentially kicking off the survival stage with a big point injection if they can take this chicken dinner. Add potentially a few more immolations to it as well. Little 𝘘𝐨𝐿𝐴 still scared about what could be coming out if there's angles watching their way. Nongshim have had a good understanding of the wrap that we saw from 𝐼𝐸𝐵 as well. So the minute they pop out from behind that rock, there's not really much cover on the rundown.
Some really nice elim counts for a lot of our teams moving forwards. 𝐷𝐷𝐷 getting that res could prove to be crucial. The knock sent towards 𝐼𝐸𝐵, allowing them a little bit more ability. The lack of sightlines from 𝐼𝐸𝐵, not quite controlling. They just lost another one. ⅓B on the back, really not going to be resable either. This is going to be a very difficult dash, and Nongshim will read into this. They're moving out already to try and control the ground around them and get across the road into some sense of security. But it is so few and far between. Everybody operating in inches right now, Jackie. There is no grander dimension on these really close quarter scenarios. Step one way too far, one step either side, and it's a completely different story. But that is a big pickup on the Nongshim to bring them down to 2 to stop their third player regrouping onto the south.
Every team starting to lose a lot of the battle of attrition here as we get in towards the fine margins of this game, like you say. Ooh, 𝐘𝐥𝐸 is well spotted out. Yasser with a reposition. The eyes lining up for 𝐷𝐷𝐷, but knowing now the pressure's going to be put on them from 𝐼𝐸𝐵 on the hillside. Never gets any easier, John.
Using those nades to create potholes moving forward, steps up for the flush. Now 𝐼𝐸𝐵 can commit to trying to hold this high ground and try and use its position, the geometry, to maybe get a pick, but they're just not quite finding it. They're starting to wane now. There's Nongshim going to try and bear the brunt of it, but down go 𝐼𝐸𝐵 on a knock already over towards Nongshim. Gives 𝐷𝐷𝐷 a big chance here.
Timid 𝐷𝐷𝐷 no more. They start to play with confidence, knowing that they can take the fight to Nongshim Red Force. The squad, we were surprised, but so far down the standings, back in the group stage. Let's see if they can kick it off here in survival with a big chicken dinner and assert dominance from the lobby. It's not going to be so easy for Nongshim as the nade blows them away, and 𝐷𝐷𝐷 take the opening game of the survival stage.
That is how you change your story. 𝐷𝐷𝐷 with a huge opener. They played from that south side. They read that they couldn't get across that river nice and early. They played on the south coast, a little bit of a bet hedger, but they did manage to get across the river. They transitioned at the right time. They moved at the right time, and that is the change I wanted to see. The question will be, can they keep it going for 11 more matches and keep that pace going? Nongshim Red Force as well, really well held on that north side. The angles that they were maintaining, they knew what they were doing, and it reads into what we were saying about them before, that strategic masterclass that we desperately want to see them moving forward. They were, again, another team in the conversation for top 5 during their group stage. They were pushed aside just about. It was very, very close, and in a very, very difficult group for them to try and make it. But nice, solid performance coming through from Nongshim. A lot of the teams that were late into that game had a lot of elims as well, which means that nobody going home empty-handed.
Yeah, we can have a bit of a listen in as well and see what they were saying.
他到前面那个树呢，前面人那会儿雕树我都说过，别急啊，别摊枪啊，别摊枪，我甩过来了。
Lovely up on the nade. Keeping things nice and tight with it. Didn't even need to peek through. That earlier knock from 𝐼𝐸𝐵 onto one of the Nongshim Red Force players as well, immediately before going out. That really was an assist in those final moments. But 𝐷𝐷𝐷, they kept their heads down when they needed to. We knew they could do that. But they also stepped up when they needed to. So I'm thrilled that they're able to take this first one.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see, right? Because we were saying before, they looked good at least in terms of how they were approaching some of these games, but I think it was falling off in the sense that they just weren't able to commit necessarily necessarily with more of a cutthroat nature, where sometimes you've got to evaluate the risk and really just go for it. Obviously there it looks a little bit scary as well with the rotate. We lost Eagle as he went down to the zone, but they'd still recover. They get it done. It's all 𝐶 in game one, but let's see how it looks in the rest of today.
This ain't no regular thing. King for the beat, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights.
Ready to level up your content? Generate high-quality, human-like voiceovers in seconds with 11 Labs. Perfect for videos, games, articles, and storytelling. Professional voices powered by 11 Labs.
I am here down at the stage for Daneborn of Survival stage with Smile, the handsome man from Yangon Galacticos, to talk about some of the stuff coming into the survival stage as a whole. And that is my first question, actually. Based on your group stage performance and what you were actually able to see in the group stage, now coming into the survival stage, has there been any kind of looks at those results and seeing how you might want to change some play styles, etc.? What do you think from the group stage coming into survival?
In the group stage, we couldn't perform well. We couldn't shoot a lot or with confidence. So for the survival stage, we will do our best. We will play with a lot of confidence and more aggressive. For the strategy, at the same, we play with same strategy, and we learn other opponent practice different situations, so we could adapt during the match. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And actually, I actually wanted to talk bigger picture here for a second, because obviously you guys are the returning champions, and it would be awesome to see you guys get like the back-to-back here in Paris, even though it's a different location. So how did that PMWC win change your life? Obviously for you guys, I remember like looking at the pictures of the parade, you guys got invited to a load of things. So what was it like from the team's perspective?
Honestly, a lot has changed saying we want to work last year. It gave us a lot more confidence and recognition. But at the same time, it also brought a lot more expectation and pressure. People started looking at us differently, and we realized that staying at the top is even harder than getting there. But overall, I'm so grateful for everything that came from that victory. It motivated us to work even harder and represent our country with pride. Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. Well, thank you very much for joining me here, Smile, and good luck at the survival stage.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, James, for that interview there with Yangon Galacticos. But it's all about Tiambas. We're joined by Hot Jukes, Max Man Natura, and the 7WG here back with you guys for PMWC at EWC 26. Tiamba, Max, they're finally showing up. 𝐘𝐨𝐿, let's go. No, I'm really, really happy to see Tiamba, because I'm not going to lie, back in their respective group, I was a little bit disappointed, because back at PMI, oh my goodness, they were bringing the heat. I mean, you and me both, Hot Jukes. We were like, this is the 𝐘𝐨𝐿 show. And yeah, group stage was a little bit topsy-turvy, but this rondo, by the way, keep in mind, they got 6 eliminations in the hot drop in Yulin, and then they dropped a 10-long garden. The circle could not have been any further away from their loot location, and yet they still come out on top and get a win. That is an impressive rotation coming out from all of Tiamba.
Yeah, it's about damn time, baby. We see Tiamba do what we expected them to do all tournament long. Yeah, had a really rough group stage, but they come into this one, 13 eliminations, 2,300 damage, and we
We expected q_ź_ẓ to be kind of like on top of that, but it was 𝐼𝐞𝐥𝐜 here that was able to really clutch it up for a squad. And honestly, after a rough group stage, to start off so strong, I think it's going to finally put them in the form we all expected.
Same with 𝐼𝐢𝐫 as well, putting up a good amount of eliminations for that squad.
Yeah, it was really nice to see 𝐼𝐢𝐫 come in. I mean, me and Max, we were all talking about it. Being like, ooh, at the end there, you know, they had a really, really good position. They should have utilized it a lot more because they were having that momentum throughout the mid stage. They were looking really, really good. They came in, they took over the position from Ulf. They were moving in, great momentum, and then all of a sudden they kind of just were like, this is the high ground. We're going to keep it, even though the zone pushes us away from it. We're just going to sit still and let everybody else not only see us and get rid of us one by one, but actually get situated and have that time to make those decisions for that end game.
Ooh la la, a little bit la la. No, I mean, clearly they took way too long. I think it would have been great to see 𝐼𝐢𝐫 after their push on Ulf. By the way, that push Nimchura was fantastic. Getting rid of all of Ulf in like literally the span of 20 to 30 seconds. Very quick fight. But then they just let 𝐼𝐴𝐴 coexist with them on the lower side next to the water. I think that was a little bit of a mistake from 𝐼𝐢𝐫. I would have loved to see them rock up on their position as they fight DK. That would have been a great third party. You know what? It's still a 16-point rondo. So 𝐼𝐢𝐫 Club, sure, it's not the chicken dinner. They're still an amazing start in the survival stage.
Great kickstart for that team. It wasn't a 29 elimination this time out of the arena, Natura, but they do end up getting at least 8.
They do. That was a really nice push from them as well. We saw them do some crazy things. Actually, they were on the east side of the zone, right? So there was a lot of teams over there. So for them to get as many eliminations as they did, I mean, it was just constant fighting from beginning to end for them. You know, them as well as 𝑦𝑜nggong. I really liked what we saw from 𝑦𝑜nggong in the beginning of this game. I think it was still a very strong rondo for them, even though they didn't really go very late into the game. I still like the presence that has seemed to be making a return for them. I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, we're seeing some changes from this squads too. It seems like they put that extra day off into work with the VOD review. One team that I think ended up doing that perfectly was 𝑁𝐼𝐴𝐴, especially with the rotations.
Finally, just committing to a play. Sure, it was not aggressive play. I think they didn't really have to go for an aggressive play this game. But it's just they see 𝐠𝐸𝐾 in a really good position in the play zone next to that lake in the center of the zone. And I see 𝐠𝐸𝐾 actively rocking up onto Alpha's position southwest of that circle. Like, wait, that position is free. Let's not waste a single second and just capitalize on that opportunity and snatch that spot for ourselves. And that gets them so deep in that game. Podium minimum, second place off the back of that Nimchura. That is what I wanted to see from NSR.
It is exactly what I wanted to see as well, because we saw in their second day of their group stage, right, they lost that momentum. They were finding the opportunities, but they were just being so slow to actually do anything about them. And that has definitely changed in this game. We saw them actually take those opportunities pretty instantaneously. And that is what we want to see from ♯ Red Force. We know they can do it, and they've done it again. And it is going to be 𝐼𝐴𝐴 being the match MVP. And 𝐼𝐸𝐿, yeah, you were saying, Juice, he's doing some great stuff.
Let's go, 𝐼𝐸𝐿. I mean, I think this is a good example of, you know what, sometimes even if you are a top squad, you don't really come off the way you really want to sometimes, right? But you know what, a day off, I think we saw these squads refresh themselves, really start playing true to form here. And this is what we needed to see. We needed to see this. Even there towards the end, 𝐼𝐢𝐫 had the top ground, but at the same time, ♯ Red Force and 𝐼𝐴𝐴 were like, we want to win this game. Let's focus all our energy up top, take them out first, and then we'll see who ends up winning first or second place. And that is how you get it done. So good to finally see these squads make it happen. It's only been one game. Come on, let's see some more of that in Arendelle. More of that, please.
One game, but we're already getting a little bit more flashes from some of these squads of just consistent inconsistency. And I'm thinking about Alpha 7 because their squad was only able to get 2 eliminations. They need to make sure they pick it up here. One quick little shout out is GO team was able to perform so well in that one, being aggressive, exactly what we expect out of GO. But let's see what teams are going to be bringing it in game 2. Thanks for setting us up there, Seven. Great desk as always. Very excited to get the insight, the narratives, and build ourselves back in before another game here. As the survival stage tension much higher, changing over now from rondo. Something a little bit more consistent, John. Excited to see what really is going to be, hopefully, a stepping stone for our team throughout the remainder of the day.
Absolutely. I was excited to see 𝐿𝐷𝑢𝐾's boots.
They look good, right?
Looking pretty fresh, man. You know, representing Texas.
You know what they say, everything outside of Texas is smaller in size.
Absolutely. They definitely do. That's what I've heard anyway. The plane path looking pretty big though, from the middle of the map on the south side. Looking to lean a little bit westward, but nice and kind. Opens up most of the map for access, and no one should be getting into any hot drop trouble. But it is a slightly reshuffled lobby, remember? We didn't really talk about drop spots on Rondo because it tends to just be let's all hot drop and then see what happens. But here on Erangel, it's a little bit more prescribed, it's a little bit more thought out and measured. So hopefully our teams have figured out where they want to go, and there won't be too much conflict over zones. But already 3 teams out over Millie, as well as, well, maybe 4 teams out over military, as 𝑅𝐢𝐫 jumped out a little bit later on. Everybody else, I think, is looking to head further north and get to the mainland. 𝑅𝐢𝐫 may be looking for that bridge split on the west side.
Yeah, it's more standard what we'd expect there from 𝐽𝐿. They've gone for this quite a few times in Erangel, very comfortable to have those military starts. Similar sort of opening as well for 𝐾𝐽𝐻, so no surprises there. I imagine they can split off and wrap away. Like you touched on, the rest of the squad trying to get distance with those parachutes. They've done their training job. They're A5 guaranteed gliders, so they can get to the mainland.
They got the distance, they got the legs needed to get on their way. Yeah, GOAT team also dropping out. They will have diverted away from that. Don't really want to get stuck in, as I said, into those hot drops. Not a good idea, but that is a nasty circle. Goodness me. We were having some pretty nasty circles, very gnarly stuff coming through over in the group stages. Looks like we're going to continue that trend all the way out on the southwest side, keeping a lot of Gatka, Quarry, that sort of area in, but this is not what you want to see to open things up for a survival stage.
No, we've been here before, you're right, man. Those group stages, very aggro, the circles we were getting, and similar scenario there. A lot of landmass going to be cut off, potential for the bridge to be in play as well. We'll see if that's a blessing for some teams or a haunting prospect for others. Obviously, we're dropping far further up towards the north side. We join the POV of Dopeness early on towards 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐾. A couple shots out of the window from 𝐞𝐥𝐻, getting a read over onto 𝐺𝐾. Pretty nice game 1 from them. So obviously, if you can punish early and slow down 𝐺𝐾 from actually accumulating point after point, it'll be the dream scenario.
Hopefully add those points to your tally in response as well. But right now, they are north and south split on 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐾. So not super close to danger. Definitely it's disengageable here, depending on the vehicle counts that each team has. And I feel like in 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐾, you cannot get stuck in too far here, especially with a circle like this. You have to look to disengage in these scenarios. The thing that sort of plays on the reverse side of that is that you are competing for the drop spot in the future matches. A lot of teams find value in saying, you know what, we're not giving up our drop spot. We're just gonna, we're telling you we'll sacrifice our game in order to maintain this top spot, this drop spot for the next, well, they've still got 5 Erangels after this to play. I could call that into question. I'm not a professional coach, so maybe there's some reads in there, maybe there's some maths to do, but I feel like it's still very, very dangerous, especially on 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐾, and especially on a plane path like this, where a lot of the map was just super accessible.
Yeah, especially down to that individual decision making, if they want to fight or not, or really what they're aiming for. I imagine for the viewers at home, you could be aiming to get yourself some beautiful skins as well. John, we've got a great event going on right now in game. I know you've been hyped for this one.
Absolutely, the Uzumaki Naruto event. Make sure you're grabbing those character sets, looking fresh with the skins, as well as that Ninetales org, looking pretty. Doesn't look like any of our players have the org though, which is unfortunate. Neither team really going to be able to take on the supply truck either, given that they're in a bit of a standoff. It makes things a little bit nastier to play from 𝐵𝐴𝐺𝐾.
Tension just settled here. Nade line up through the window. Ooh, it's a nice chip, John. Could have been beautiful.
Does manage to catch a little spray on the step across there, but not going to quite get the knock. And it's again just retreating being a little bit safe. Like you said, deck of cards type play, reshuffle yourselves somewhat, but that is a nice little reshuffle for 𝐼𝐸𝐺 on the sidelines, able to get the side swipe, and 𝐸𝐸 have got their opener. Now, do they try and take this one fast, or are they going to slow themselves down again? Looks like they want to try and capitalize a second knock, and there is no way that they get those two players back up. Surely not, as 𝐸𝐸 descend from multiple angles. One is cut across, but it's not going to be the same story for the others.
That's really nice for Kevin. Beautiful predict with the nade. Pops perfectly. Reply back over. Easy for Bad Boy cleaning up. So 1 by 1, 𝐸 suffering heavy losses on this. It was 𝐞𝐸 that took a few pot shots over to the 𝐸𝐸 roster to start off, and they went, you know what, you want to fight, let's take it.
Let's get it done. 2 players now left for 𝐸. 𝐿 did manage to rotate over the north side of {PACHINKI}, and because this fight is taking place, it means that the teams in {PACHINKI}, or if there had only been one, the team in {PACHINKI} has not moved out to the west side. For 𝐿, this is pretty good news, because it means they have access to a lot of zone that they may not have done before, as well as a third-party angle. Leaving Aaron up on the top of the hill, they could start to slow it down even more, and they're going to have so much information about what has been going on in this area. Aaron doesn't even want to stick around for the flush. He gives up his position, and they're just going to back it off. But 𝐿 are going to be the ones to take down the supply truck from {PACHINKI}. This is huge for 𝐿.
Yeah, this is really nice. Cutting out a lot of that mid-game looting time, getting themselves hopefully some right tier loot to play with off the back of it. Good comms on it, set themselves up, dump a few magazines simultaneously into the truck and grab your benefits from it. Alongside possibly forcing the hand of these two teams a little bit more as well, with the damage done from that high-rise angle. Oh, 𝘘𝐥. Oh, for one, the double up coming potentially as well as he spams. 𝑍G trying to beat back into it, shot into the 5, stays alive. 𝐞𝐸 on the wraparound as that molly through the window.
Oh, here's the player step a little bit too late. May have been able to swing faster, but it's going to work out. Holding the ground floor now, and 𝐸𝐸 get a little bit too bold with it. Aaron from the off angle rattled them a little bit, and they are starting to shake, starting to show vulnerability. Oh, another big nade from 𝑍G though, puts them in the advantage once more. One player now standing for 𝐸.
𝘘𝐿 has the baton to play with. What can he do? Not too much there. Spams over on the side, but not enough to keep them in it as the nade from 𝐼𝐸𝐺 blows him away, and 𝐸 off the drop. Exit stage left with 2 elims, but that is a detriment to 𝐸𝐸, John. Even if they reset, it's only a duo.
Yeah, they do win the fight, sure. There was that third party coming through from 𝐿 as they wrapped around on that northern side. 𝑇iAMBA now going to take up that mantle, but this is what you have to be afraid of on these hot drops. They no longer have prio when it comes to getting out to the west. And on a hardship like this, they have lost too much time for me to really be considering them deeply into the rest of this match. Everybody else much, much faster, and we are going to focus our attention now on teams making that break out west. A lot of teams coating the west side coast and the south edge as well, near Ferry Pier, around Quarry. Yangon Galacticos, very much the back of the queue.
See if Yangon can keep some good energy rolling for that roster over the course of today's playdate. A lot of eyes on them. Our 2 reigning champions in the lobby, of course, being Yangon Galacticos, and then behind that, Alpha 7 from the year prior, back in 2024's EWC.
Circle. Oh, no way!
What are we doing?
What is going on? Goodness me, a massive western shift on this zone. It is brutal. Quarry is so impactful here as well. It's such a quagmire of a position. It just sticks you down. You can't really move freely around it. So for 𝐿, they may be able to take the ridgeline, but getting down future may be difficult. I don't think too many teams are going to be able to play around Quarry, and this is going to get nasty. The positions out on the west are difficult to hold. For {PACHINKI}, they need to regroup. For Wolves, they need to try and stay alive. And 7-2-1 are going to try and crash on in. Everybody on the south edge being funneled around that Quarry location. Oh, Jackie, this is going to get very, very dirty.
There's something in the air at this event. I don't know what happened this year, John, but the circles we've had have resulted in some ridiculous games the whole way through, from start to finish. It's never easy. It feels like we're playing with 50% land in every single game. Half of it's always taken up by the water. Hey ho, we go again. Teams instantly crunching down, knowing it's only going to get harder to get into a safe location in the zone the longer they leave this one.
𝐸𝐭 just about making it past 𝐴𝐸𝐴. Bulls actually went straight past 𝐴𝐸𝐴, and they're not very central on this zone, Jackie. They're looking to play out to the west side of the road, towards that coastline, nestling themselves in and looking to maybe play a 2-2 split. 𝐸𝐭 happy to post up around those quarry warehouses for the time being, maybe move on a little bit further because you've got AGAL moving in behind them. Furia, in the meantime, trying to get out of ＫRIMORSK, playing in for that south edge. I like this move coming through from 𝐸𝐭, moving one of their players around the headland, gives them a little bit more latitude when it comes to having to move later on, and that really is the plan for the scout out on the west.
Is for some of our teams as well, this accelerates the way you have to play this one. I think a Go team, they usually have those very long, safe rotates where they want to be inside the blue, taking their opportunity to build into a great late game finish. Here, you can't really play that style. Have to take a few shots into Fury as they cash line a sight on the road. This is going to be Go team's POV. Elevated angle, killer_J getting swarmed on as well. The AGAL Killer Bees on the move as they head down towards the road, looking to cut round Goat and get themselves into a better position. Doesn't get any easier though. The Wolves just up ahead.
And Orf as well, looking to try and stymie that approach from the south side. AGAL on the side of a road, looking to maybe control the shack, but Aaron's already in occupation. 𝐘𝐥 needs to line him up, and Aaron takes a lot of damage there. Far too much for my liking. Has to fold back, and that gives AGAL a chance. 𝐘𝐥 now in danger as AGAL continue their pursuit to move on forwards. Somehow they're making this march, and I'm surprised that they've been able to get this far, Jackie. Next circle, is it going to be similarly brutal? It goes coastal side, maybe less brutal, but even so, it's nasty.
Still punishing stuff. Cutting out that landmass. Teams standing on each other, shoulder to shoulder in the zone. AGAL, you're right, man. Barely tucked in behind the ticket, they found themselves a few moments of brief respite to catch their breath. Tiamba as well. They're here, they're catching line of sight of this. Few pot shots being fired towards their general direction. Really free squads that are even outside of the zone right now. And ∞ Red Force down to ＫRIMORSK with wrap up from Furia close by, and then 𝐸𝐭 coming in down from the north side late.
This ℝRQ position, really important. The hill that sits towards the coastline, you can see the high ground that they're able to control. Ulf trying to move into the foothills around it, but AGAL are peppering them. Apparently Aaron is in nade range there. That's a long arm on that one. Looks to try and find some more, but he's already crawling away, crawling back to the rest of the roster. For ℝRQ, this is great, but they need to start leveraging it for elims. I think that's Aaron down and out. I think it may well be, but Furia and ∞ Red Force in the meantime, all on the south side, coming to loggerheads, and nobody's looking happy with this. Furia on 2 players and ∞ left on just 1, Jackie.
Yeah, this is rough, man. No one's getting out of this with a smile on their face unless they can completely recover now. Thankfully, the last shot goes through pretty heavy-handedly to punish one more man from ∞, leaving it down to a solo. Furia going to be attempting to get the recovery on the go. CXCY did bail out. Surprised he's still standing. Bullet after bullet being injected towards the vehicle. He just keeps driving.
Cheeky little seat swap there for XNY to stay alive, but where's he going? He might as well have pulled up on that shackle. Maybe he's going to pull up on a player from AGAL. It's not going to work out though. Okay, a little bit wild, but not really too many options left for him. If he'd have stopped maybe a touch earlier, he could have had to hop out, grab some of those shots, but wasn't quite there with it, not quite slick enough. And AGAL, with a little bit of a danger approaching them, able to hold their nerve.
Elimination delivery on that one. Drove in, double checked the code, gave it to him. The RX as well, hillside takeover. Trey trying to get a read on things. 𝐴𝐿𝐴 back into the fight as well. 𝐸𝐭 taking the head-on approach towards 𝐸𝐿𝐴, with 𝐴𝐿𝐴 amongst them, sandwiching them there. So they do go down. That's our 3rd and 4th position team off the back of our opening game of Rondo already out of the running, so opportunities for some lapping to occur.
𝐸𝐭 obviously the team that won the Chinky, but kind of lost as well in that first hot drop. We'll be keeping an eye on if that continues to happen. for those two teams. And if 𝐸𝐸 continue to win it, if it does, either way, they will slow themselves down something awful. A lot of casualties in the middle of this zone, and rightly so. It keeps the coastline in here, and again, 𝑅𝐢𝐫's position on that western side, on that hill, gets stronger and stronger, as well as the compound for 𝐸-Arena on that west side too. Those buildings, I'm imagining Fury is going to be crashing into them. Either that, or they try and sweep around behind 𝑅𝐢𝐫's hill and take control of that area of the map.
Could be a game-changing play. Establish a nice area of control for yourselves, force them out. Starting to get a bit excited in the crowd now as well. Energy building up here in Paris going into game 2. 𝐿𝐴 with the quick repairs. He's certified for this one. Let's go team with all 4 players still alive right now. A wrap around potentially for KRX as well. Bit of a split there between Trey and Vinny as they've broken off from one another.
Alpha 7 on the northwest side, with 3 players alive on the beachhead. Vinny, he's going to start to tick away from the blue, from the water. You need breath, you need health bar, and neither's going to go your way. Down he goes, leaving only 1 player now left standing for them. Over on the northeast side near the backstop for GOAT. Fury, instead of going towards the zone, looks like maybe they want to try and take care of GOAT team first, or at least scout it out. They wrap back around fairly quickly though, as the last player from Q1 DRX goes down.
Yeah, 𝐿𝐴 finds that one. So the other player, of course, denying it out to the blue, not wanting to give the points over to Furia. So that is where their story ends in game 2. Killer Joe, off-angle peek from the sideline. The attention of Furia was all on Moxie. Joe was able to take the first bit of damage with ease. Silence replies though. Shuts down Fuchs, leaves him on his last legs. Good name play from Moxie. Shush is Silence. If this is on target, could be very lethal. Trying to get it over the hillside onto the close grouping. A trio of Furia players with 1 man in the vehicle scouting. Chief on the pushback over. Ayala really looking rough here, John.
Yeah, the off angle from 𝐸-Arena is chiming in as well. Another nade sent over the top. It's big boom after big boom coming through from GOAT team. And now it's just on the forefront. On the back line, it's Igor who needs to come up big here against GOAT team, but they can't push forwards because of that 𝐸-Arena off angle, which is slowing this fight down really annoyingly for GOAT team. The advantage though is that they can start to use this time to maybe find a foothold into the zone, because the blue zone is upon them and you can't res in stage 4. You need to get this one done as fast as you can. Silence may not be able to get back up here.
They knew there was the rock up from the back line when 𝐿𝐴 got the takedown on GOAT team, so they've read that, reassessed and wrapped off like you say, and they put straight into the awaiting arms of 𝐸. Terrifying 𝐸 today. They've changed their fate. A few more elims racked up, that puts them on 2 so far.
Now they're encroaching towards AGAL, both from the same region, and there's the crash from Eagle on the shack. They know there's a player in here. They need to try and keep safe, but it's not going super well for everyone. 𝐸 able to stay alive on the inside, but losing one on the out, and Liu gets some retribution. AGAL now playing on a 2 in the center of the circle as it shrinks right on top of them. Holding this position would be great, but there's so many angles now staring you down.
Oh, nades are good as well. Primes that one, gets it right on target. Good by AGAL. They go down to the nitro they've been given to breakfast, and this is where it gets far more scary as well. Alula, low on HP with a bit of a split on the setup. Yangon Galacticos pushing in as a roster, coming in together, struggling on contact with 1 player buckling under the pressure, and Wolves, they smell the opportunity to steal some of these elims. Nade carved over, 𝐿𝐴 dives out, Romeo will fall, can't withstand that.
Ooh, but there is an answer from Smile to find a knock over onto a Wolves player, leaving Aola potentially to be able to... I don't think they can get this res with the blue zone coming on in now. Doesn't quite have the time to get the crawl back. It would be a miracle to get that back to 2. So Aola may be drawing short here. In the meantime, the Wolves have got GOAT team pushing in behind them. Bulls felt that they were third-partying it, but they've been fourth-party necessary. Can't quite do what he needed to. As Force goes in with the shotgun trade. Elementrix, though, still on the swivel for Wolves. Doing work. 𝐘𝐨𝐿 left to survive this one. Has another opportunity for the fight, but Elementrix is looking clean with it. Takes too much damage, though, and has to dip back.
𝐘𝐿 thrives in these sort of encounters, Sean, where he does his best work. He's able to really nail that one with the UMP. Get the quick pick up, looking for the revive and Force as well, so they can fight on as a duo. 𝐷𝑘. Oh, he's got the angle, John.
Oh, he doesn't quite get the peak fully there, though. He's a little bit too timid, and that's going to allow the rest to come through from GOAT team. 𝐷𝑘 could still play spoiler to it. He sees them too on the broadside now. He's going to know exactly where they are, and he can step forwards for it. Force, I think, might know as well. 𝐘𝐿 into the buggy. He's rolling forward. They're going to have to play against this, but 𝐷𝑘 gets back, and 𝐼𝐸NA don't want to overcommit.
Jumps back in the vehicle, puts the pedal to the metal and pieces out for now, whilst Force continues to hit heavy, quick, not fast enough for 𝐼𝐸NA's escape plan. There's only one man remains, 𝐘𝐨 cruising over into the waiting arms of 𝑈LF. They've seen him coming. If he keeps going, it'll be 𝑅𝐢 that will have this one set up on a platter. Back exposed, easy tags, that's the takedown.
Should have gone that way a little bit earlier. 𝑅𝐢 retreating to the beach side have given up control over a lot of this hill. It was under pressure, but I feel like you do need to start to think about stepping forwards now. The difficulty with that is, of course, Furia's position on the south edge. They do need to keep control of that, which is why they've invested so much in terms of moving there. But that opens opportunities for Alpha 7 on the north side to start to be a major player in this circle, because they've been quite quiet up until now. Moving down south, they get a lot more control and maybe sneak in behind 𝑅𝐢, or rather in front of them now.
Furia, it's not been easy for them for the positions they've been forced into. Still standing as a trio after losing Silence quite some time ago from that engagement over the top. It was Fuchs that took him out. Nailed onto the vehicles. 𝑅𝐢 not overcommitting for this, wrapping off with his own shifting in as well, crunching further up towards the mainland.
I mean, that's where I wanted 𝑅𝐢 to be looking to play. They kind of probably did want to play that already, but you can see that Furia would have had some pretty solid angles on this. 𝐼𝐸NA may as well been able to chime in depending on exactly where you're playing it. But 𝐼𝐸NA going to have to move, Fury going to have to move. And the crunch in on the east side, I think, it's going to be pretty tricky. 𝐼𝐸NA looks like they were willing to go for those wraparounds, go quite wide with things. So potential for them to actually move into this west side engagement, but they may just look to push up towards 𝐶𝐻𝑖AMBA and towards GOAT, as 𝑅𝐢 look to regroup further north and fence off the area from Alpha 7. Noof, the sub coming in for Alpha 7, will be the player to hold, and he's on the vehicle spot, looking to control it, doesn't quite tag with the first shotgun, but there is the top of the hill coming on to play.
They focus all their fire on him. He's able to withstand the pressure and get back up from the rest of the boys as Alpha 7 start to thrive off the noise being made by the fans in the arena. 𝑅𝐢 detonating the vehicle to shut down the super sub for the side. What can the rest of the roster get up to here? Bullets being peppered towards them. Amongst all this, 721 GRS struck upon by 𝑈LF as they go in heavy with the shotgun. rebroadcast just drives into the middle of it all. Now to go crazy, John.
How on earth does he dodge all of those rounds on the outside? karenge with the seat swap looks for more, but Alpha 7 all in the final hurdle. Rebel looked immaterial crossing that open beach, but it was got to be, and now Furia can roll on in, happy as Larry, to go for the fight. 𝐼𝐸NA wants to try and crunch it behind this too, and they are doing just that.
Nades on target, good damage. Furia, they've had to play defensive for so long. Now we're seeing that aggression come out. Cutthroat play so far. Wrap around the back, the nades look good, but a bare bounce over the top side, and they'll get it done with the rounds instead. 𝑅𝐢 fall.
Down they go. Furia looking to piece themselves back together. 𝐼𝐸NA maybe a little bit too slow to jump on the back lines for Furia as they establish themselves. 𝐈LF as well, looking to challenge over on the northern side, obviously diminished in power with only 2 of their players alive, but still a force to be reckoned with. 𝑘𝐈𝐿 and Scarface have got some solid positions to play around. 𝐼𝐸NA on the south border, I think they're the team to beat here, Jackie. It feels like on this south side, they have got control, they've got a lot of what they need, and Furia is committing towards the north side.
energy building up. A lot of fans in the house today. I see all the 𝐖𝐞𝐥𝐜𝐿 signs, John, the Alpha 7 fans bringing the heat once again as well. But they've got one thing in common right now. Neither squad remains alive currently in game 2, out of the contest here. All the different sides that are looking to really squeeze a good injection to point out of this for Tianba as well, thinking about the potential of a ludicrous start to the day if they can do the unthinkable.
I mean, they've already gotten 5 elims and gotten up to a 5th place. This is a good game regardless for Tianba. They're going to be happy with this performance. Next zone coming on through. Shrink's pretty dead center. Don't think there's too much to worry about for 𝐸-arena, for Tianba, for Furia. But for Go Team, I think this is going to be their big test, right? They are just playing on this one tree. They've got some vehicles on the back lines, sure, but they have to move. And where do you go? Where do you go? It might just have to be a crazy wide sweep up to the north, but Tianba are going to light you up, 𝐸-arena are going to light you up. You need a pick, you need an opening. I just don't see Go Team moving forwards.
It's not been the easiest approach for them. For Furia, they've been trying to build up nice points on this game, taking the heat to teams when they think there's a chance to get a drop on them. 𝐿𝐴 trapped by the rocks there after eating the nade. No real easy pathway for Scarface to get him back on his feet. This could be another chance for Furia to flush out one more squad, push themselves even further with 2 elims going their way if they do it cleanly.
Yeah, Go Team, you really can't be doing anything here. 𝐘𝐿𝐴 just looking for some angles, but there's nothing to do. Fair enough to fall down there. 𝐘𝐿𝐴 will go down last. Scarface now under pressure. As Tianba actually take the elim over on towards 𝐘𝐿𝐴, and Scarface still kicking. As 𝐼𝐿𝐴 takes a knee. 𝐸-arena in the meantime can start to march in from the south side, and nade will finish off Scarface. But 𝐼𝐿𝐴 now needs to be secured, and this is beautiful. Sweep across from 𝐸-arena. Furia have committed to that north side, and there is now nothing stopping 𝐸-arena taking the entirety of this ridgeline in a 3-way engagement.
Yeah, this is great decision making. Instantly aggressive when they think they've got a moment to get the drop on them. Furia down to 3 players. 𝐼𝐿𝐴 unfortunately falling in that head-to-head versus Scarface. That puts so much more pressure on this team. They're going to get him back up. We'll have a few seconds here to top his HP up. Thankfully, he's done so. They've crunched so much space, so much map control away. Nowhere near as easy now, John.
They know Milu's position. The nade they've been able to push forwards. 𝐼𝐿𝐴 creeping up to the ridgeline as well, and 𝐸-arena actually going to regress on their hold, not wanting to stay overextended or maybe move those vehicles in different ways, swap them out, something like that. But just like giving that ground there was an interesting decision, but they get it back very, very quickly. Furia don't try and push over the top on it. Still waiting for this one to get forced by the circle. You can see Chief will get moved. Igor as well has to leave his little ridge. Step up probably towards that burnt out buggy. That's where he's pacing himself towards. 𝐼𝐿𝐴 cannot find an angle.
For love nor money right now. No chance to get a raw free peek onto them. Just looking to cast that first stone, open it up with an advantage. The first domino falling for either of these squads will be very detrimental. Obviously for 𝐸-arena, that big benefit you have as well in the trade game. They've got 1 extra man in the squad. Takes a little bit more pressure off them, but they still need a clean fight. In from either side, it wouldn't really change much.
Next stage closes dead central on this, and no one really has the full inside track, but 𝐸-arena have the most ability to move around. If Furia go down, Tianba can start to move up the hill. That might give them a little opening door. Furia now moving much closer towards 𝐸-arena, and the nades are going to start to cause problems for Mormon. The Molotov's there as well, but he has the smoke to cover his vision and hit the deck. Looks to get some healing. No knock found.
shocked. I'm absolutely shocked he's still standing there. Stereo nades got out either side. It felt like one bullet away from him falling. Topped himself back up, like you say. He's quick with the nades. Fury are debating where they really need to engage on this. Is it easier to try and wrap around onto Tiamba's side, or they just have to hold in the middle way for the crunch to come towards them? They're going to go in the direction of Tiamba. 𝐼𝐼𝐿𝐴, thought maybe they were a little bit closer than they are. Had the DBS primed, scouting play as well. They're losing a lot of space from this peak up from the arena, starting to force them further back. It's getting scary out there.
Final zone closing as well now, Jackie. It's straight into the middle. Can't hang about now. No elims for Irina. So they would love to try and sweep a couple of these up. Over the top of the hill, they're looking to put a pressure onto Furia, but they fight back. 𝐸𝐸 goes 1-for-1 on the trade, which is not great news for them. But where are Tiamba? Can they make a pass at this? Try and move in behind Furia. I think they might be going for it. They've heard this fight break out. They've seen the knocks come through. And the backlines from Irina getting a little bit full-spooted as Tiamba make their play.
Tiamba, triple threat of nades thrown over the top. Erupting explosions towards Furia's angle after knowing they're weak. They're still not overly committing. Being hit from all sides as well. They're going slightly too far deep. That one looks good. Great chip damage onto Furia. Chief with a reply. Mormon's drop. Joker hits the headshot back onto him. It's a 1-for-1 stalemate. Tiamba still waiting.
Finally, a second knock, and now Furia on one. Tiamba read this nicely. 𝐸𝐸 the last to go, and they wrap around. They roll it down. 𝑘𝐨𝐿 wants to shut it out in the arena now. The last hurdle for Tiamba's back-to-back. 3 players versus 2. Joker off in the distance, but there's one in the smoke. Dealt with immediately. 𝐘𝐨𝐿 relies on his teammates. He turns for a moment, but he knows they've got his back, and in a 1 versus 3, can he make it work? Mormon now bleeding out to the zone. Irina will fall in the face of Tiamba. For a back-to-back chicken dinner. This is brilliant.
Talks of Tiamba looking timid in their group stage. But that's all changed now as they terrify the lobby and turn up massively with not only 1 chicken dinner locked in, but a second following that. Back-to-back. Incredible start to the survival stage here.
Really brilliant opener coming through for a team that, as we were saying, there were a lot of criticisms levied at their play style. They only just about managed to get into the survival stage with a late in the day chicken dinner, but they did look much better during that chicken dinner, during those group stages. And this is exactly the sort of development you want to see. Able to go, I think it was 11 eliminations as well there, Jackie. It is a monumental start for them. Getting towards the top 6 just got a whole lot easier.
Yeah, dream start, man. That's what we're saying, right? We were looking at it even kind of early into that one, thinking, oh, they've done pretty well with the elims. It looks like they've got a good set of heads on their shoulders today. Way better for you when you not only get 1 chicken dinner, but 2 already locked in. Playing it smart, I was a little bit worried we're going to see some of those signs of them not willing to really engage when they have a bit of an advantage. We saw that a few times in groups. It looks like they've recovered that.
Yeah, I mean, the instance right at the end there, where they saw 1 knock on either side, they said, you know what, now's as good as any. The zone's closing, we've got to go. They had the nades, a little bit off target with the nades. I think it's safe to say they didn't have a full read on the position of Furia, so overexpending a little bit of utility there. So still improvements to be made, but yeah, I think I can forgive them that. They were still able to crunch it behind, be the pneumatic press that crunched Furia and followed through straight on towards Irina, who, given the solid position that they had on that south side for so long, surprising that they weren't able to get many elims at all. A very minimal point scoring game for a team that plays second place.
Yeah, it is surprising. It is surprising. I think for Irina it's scary as well, because we historically have that 1 massive game of group stage where we were thinking, damn, they're looking absolutely sick. They're really playing confidently in the head-to-heads as well. The longer it's gone on, there's moments where you're thinking, when are they going to get that second wind again? Not necessarily from the tactical side, but more from just the willingness to actually show how good they are as individuals in terms of gun skill. We know it's there, John. It's just got to rear its head once again. But today, so far, it's all about Tiamba.
Yeah, I mean, for the players on site, they do need to start to step up, be a little bit more like Tiamba. I think it's safe to say we're going to head down to the stage. We're going to catch
up with some of the players. Yes, we are. And who are we going to talk to other than 𝐸𝐴MBA and 𝑘𝐸𝐫 here? Back-to-back wins to start off the survival stage. What a result. And let's ask about that, right? Back-to-back wins. Obviously, in the group stage, you didn't have the easiest of times. So what was the focus for the team between the group stage coming into now this survival stage?
𝐘𝐸𝐫 首先恭喜你们已经2连世纪了，非常优秀的一个发挥。当时你们小组赛的时候可能打得不算那么好，然后现在进了生存赛之后，明显就是状态调整过来了。能不能跟我们说你们当时调整的时候主要注重哪些方面呢？
其实我们没有做太多调整，其实前2天其实大致上没什么问题，但是每个人的状态可能不是很好。然后昨天调整了一些东西，然后大家状态都变好了一些。然后我的调整就是我加了个手机壳，因为我用那个手机老断触，但加了手机壳之后断触会变少很多。
Also, we didn't really make a lot of adjustments. I think that we were in terms of strategy. I think we were absolutely fine. It's just that in the group stages, I think everyone's form was just a little lackluster. And then coming to the survival stage, I think we are now performing a lot better. I think everyone's form is just peaking right now. And in terms of adjustments for me personally, what I adjusted was I added a case to my phone, and I think that really helped to reduce some of the not registering some of my key inputs, my patches. So I think that really helped as well.
More accurate at all. That makes a lot of sense. And going to the Rondo game, you guys came in from the south side of the river and played alongside the river for almost the whole game. What were the biggest threats to you guys for that first win?
当时你们第一张图的时候，你们相当于是从那条河的南边，就是进圈的，然后而且你们相当于是我唯一支队正在那边，然后你们就一直沿着那条河的南边在那边打了一整场。当时一整场下来，你能不能跟我说一下最主要的一些威胁会是什么呢？
其实最主要的威胁是我们准备反清山上的一波，然后我们差点被右边的 𝐘𝐴给溜了，然后但是我们当时顶住了那一波，然后那波可能是最具威胁的一波。
Well, I'll say the most dangerous point was when we were trying to clear a hill, and then I think KRX actually had the slip on us, and it was a very tough battle. I think it was a really dangerous moment for us, but we managed to hold on and we managed to fight back, and we managed to win that battle. And I think that was the single most we almost eliminated point.
All right, 𝐘𝐸𝐫, amazing once again. Thank you very much. Thank you for the translations. That does it for us down here on the stage. Will 𝐸𝐴MBA get another win on the day? Looking like it. It's crazy.
𝐸𝐴MBA doing their best impressions of Drake with that back-to-back, because this team is definitely showing up here at survival stage of PMWC at EWC 26. But don't forget, it is PMWC. There is a PMWC Lucky spin currently going on within the game. Make sure you log in, do the spins, do all the fun stuff before he goes away, because we do have the Electron Energy set, the Proton Power set, and the stunning Alien Fusion Gross Out, which Max was telling me it ends up glowing on the dark. This was co-created with PvP creator Nana, and I want the Gross Out. Same. I want that Gross Out, Natura. But talking about the game, this last game, 𝐸𝐴MBA, oh my, especially that ending too, the way that they ended up pushing to Furia and then just demolish the arena is what we want to see out of 𝐸𝐴MBA, Max.
By the way, before we do get into the nitty-gritty analysis of the finishing of that game, the Rondo win, Tinlong Garden drop, they go to a northern finish, they win that game. Here they drop 𝐼𝐴zhnaya Polyana. They win a Western Coast finish. I don't know how they keep doing it, man. Their rotations are on a separate level here at PMWC 2026 as we check out the player stats here. And 𝐘𝐨𝐮𝐓𝐿, oh my goodness, 4.5 average eliminations per game so far today, putting up the numbers. And I didn't predict them to make you because I was actually quite disappointed by them in their groups. And it's clearly working out for them, 𝐁𝐴. Well done, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we still got a long couple of days ahead of us, but based on the last two games, I think we can really start to change our minds about them. They're being very, very consistent. What I really love is that they bided their time. They waited, right? Oh, there go my notes. Because
she's attacking me.
Yeah, I'm attacking him. No, because they were just sitting underneath this hill, right?
Yes.
Waiting for these two to get together, start fighting, and then push. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, that push on 𝑘𝐴, of course, the timing of that is great because 𝑘𝐴 is at their absolute weakest, and also 𝐼𝐴rina trying to get a revive back on their fallen comrade. I wanted to focus very clearly on this replay on 𝑚iLu and 𝑘𝐨𝐶. The focus, the sheer determination at that moment, putting the focus on the same player at the same time. What an absolutely amazing fragging duo, and clearly they're the main reason so far they've been successful on this opening day of survival stage. Loving the synergy of those two guys in particular.
Loving that synergy, loving the action that they're truly putting on. 12 eliminations there for 𝐶iAMBA, being able to come up with the win. Furia, this is a team that we've been wondering where have they been. They finally ended up showing up here in this game match with those 7 eliminations, 12 points total.
Happy to see it, really. What a hold on 𝑃րimorsky in particular. They were holding off from Red Force. I know Blank was very excited about their hold on to GOAT in particular, making a massive statement that hilltop is their hilltop for the rest of that game. So Furia, a little bit topsy-turvy back in the group stage, but 𝐁𝐴 this time around, strong podium finish, which is what we love to see from that Brazilian squad.
No, I do like it. I like it a lot. The only thing I want to say, if I could just really nitpick here, is that they had a very strong mid game, right? Very strong, very proactive. I really enjoyed that. I was like, okay, yes, Furia, they're coming in strong. We also saw them move on to the RRQ and A7 fight really quickly with so much force. There was no backing. There was no coming back from that for RRQ. So very, very well done. But they kind of slowed down. They waited to that stage 9. I would have liked to see them be a little bit more proactive with EA. I know that they were, intimidated by 𝐶iAMBA there, that other third team rather being there, but I would have liked just a little bit more momentum coming through from them. Side note onto 𝐶iAMBA, actually, speaking of momentum, 𝐶iAMBA went from 0 to 100. Did you see that? When they realized that fight was finally happening, they went from sitting behind a tree to full on pushing like that. 10 out of 10, no notes.
It was very good. But I want to go back real quick to what you were saying about Furia in particular, slow it down a bit at the end. I don't want to criticize that too much. I think it was actually a good play for them to slow it down. The reason why, we knew that whichever team fights last, chances are they're going to get the win at the very end. Furia fighting 𝐼𝐴rina, we want to try and get rid of 𝐼𝐴rina, but if we fully commit to the fight and take even more knocks, eventually 𝐶iAMBA's going to rock up on us, which is actually what happened, right? So I do get your point that at that moment when all the 3 teams are just ready to go at a moment's notice, Furia, I think, made the most out of it, and this is a team that I did not expect to make on the podium, but you know what? A strong podium finish from Furia on a very hard circle for that squad, by the way. I think that's still a win.
Yeah, and on the opposite side for the Brazilian squads, you have Alpha 7 still not being able to do that well. Only putting points via placement in this last one because the eliminations just weren't there.
Yeah, elimination. It's a hard zone, though. It's a hard circle to really get eliminations. You've got so many.
𝐶iAMBA was able to do it.
𝐶iAMBA was able to do it. I think
and they don't land even close to that.
True. I think it's probably one of those things where it's like you get in there early, you're able to do something. If you avoid teams, then that eastern side was very, very busy. So yeah, you can get a lot of elims if you're there, but I think there's just so many angles. What it's actually doing is intimidating teams into not taking those fights because there's so many angles. Those angles are completely covered, so you're like, I can't make a move in this.
By the way, going back in this game, there's a very interesting moment for 𝐶iAMBA, which really enabled them in the first place to be a contender for that chicken dinner, is they had all these teams over to the eastern side in the swamp. They're like, just let's get away from that position. It's not worth it. So I love seeing that they understand when a fight is just not worth taking. But you know what? Chicken dinners are definitely worth taking. 2 chicken dinners, 35 points. 𝐶iAMBA making it happen on Rondo. And the first Durangle. And you know what? With only 12 games to play here, if they don't pull an 𝐼𝐴rina, 𝐁𝐴, top 6 is looking pretty good.
I mean, top 6 is looking very, very nice. The thing, though, we have to watch out for is it's a Group B all over again. It really is, because you've got that point sponge at the top. You got 45 points versus, 19 we saw there? Everybody could still get into top 6. Probably gonna still go that way by the end of today. We're probably gonna see the same sort of gaps being in that leaderboard. And so, yeah, we're looking at a very spicy survival stage if this keeps going from 𝐶iamba.
At the beginning of the day, we're talking about Sony Story of the Day, no sponge points. Guess what? Now 𝐶iamba's like, we are here. We're going to be sponging up all those points. We still have a lot more survival stage coming up. But before we go into the next game, we're going to be sending it over to Kalaris.
Yeah, you know, I'd really like to talk about all the other teams here in the survival stage. I'd really not like to overlap with what you guys are saying. But it's all about 𝐶iamba. How are we supposed to ignore what they've been able to do? I think, though, if we really kind of step back and look at those 2 victories they got, though, here, Blank, winning in the face of adversity is what has made 𝐶iamba a world-class team. On Rondo, on the Riverside, being able to hold that down as long as they did, and then on Erangel, sending it from the swamp location at the perfect timing, very, very important as well.
You are a stage heavy hitter, aren't you, really? You're coming out here swinging with some hard facts, some hard knowledge. I like it. But it's great. The adversity has been a big thing for them, but they've been decisive, clean on a lot of their pushes. I think even just on that last game alone, it's nice to see 𝑘𝐨𝐶 with a bit of teamwork going on. 𝐸𝐿 was bouncing off him so well. It's also crazy. I think one of the things that I like about PL teams is they will use the DBS at mega distance.
Yes.
And it works.
I will say as well, I can pull the curtain back a little bit, as I've just interviewed 𝑘𝐨𝐶. Just before the interview, actually just after that win, you saw as they got up and they were elated, high-fiving and everything like that. He showed me that he hurt his hand. He hurt his hand from the high-five alone. So, yes, they were very, very happy.
It's a strong high-five right there.
That's a very strong high-five.
I bet he whacks that fire button really hard, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's nice to see, again, for 𝑘𝐨𝐶, he came from PRI, FMVP there as well, with 39 eliminations, over 7,000 damage. Crazy result from him. It's good to see the rest of 𝐶iamba stepping up, though, because there is so much conversation around 𝑘𝐨𝐶 and how good he is as a player, but I think it's mainly what we're looking at right now with the rest of the team, who are all rallying around him. It's easy enough to be that front man, but you have to have people who are following you into that battle.
Well, as Max just mentioned on the desk as well, 𝐸𝐿 was kind of the determining factor in that first game. Likewise, when you look at the damage output and the damage numbers for that second game, it was, of course, 𝑘𝐨𝐶 who was able to kind of take the reins and really run with it. But it wasn't just the timings at which they were able to move. Again, it's the opportunistic gameplay, right? If you take that position away from AGAL in this Erangel game and find yourself bogged down in a fight, if Ulf wants to kind of continue on a little bit of that aggression, you're suddenly going to be taken out. But they were able to show up their defenses so well after taking out AGAL. I am super impressed by what we've just seen in these first 2 games.
It's definitely astonishing, and I think Fury is almost a little bit of a overside of the card, right, for that. They were very, very resilient all the way through, even from early on in the game to where they faced off against GOAT team. There they were able to almost dominate just by LOS control, keeping themselves on the left-hand side towards the coast, where GOAT was struggling because eventually they were going to start being spotted out by teams off in the distance, which did happen. And 𝐸𝐿, man, he was playing phenomenally well all the way up to the end. But 𝐶iamba, just going for that instantaneous push. Now, I really do feel we had another weird one, though, with 𝐸𝐿. He had a 4-man on that south side. I think there was just a bit of a stop-starting maneuver from them there, and they weren't able to fully control it. It felt like the fight actually came down to Fury and 𝐶iamba to really close it out.
I have my concerns.
Yes, so do I.
Because the thing is you were coming into that late game scenario and you've got 0 elims. And then I'm thinking to myself, actually, okay, from this position they could win, even though they've got 0 elims. But then kind of flub it in some of these moments. Yes, we had the record-breaking game from the group stage by them, but outside of that, it has not looked fantastic. So they need to really kind of change some things up here throughout the survival stage. Thank you very much, Blank, for joining us. It is time to head over to the casters once again for another game on the grassy pastures of Erangel.
Oh, absolutely, it's time. Let's head on in. Are we going to get another hot drop in Pochinki? Is it going to be a circle that, keeps at least 60% of its area inside of the main landmass? Well, I think time will tell. We'll have to wait and see who's going to be able to come out on top of this one, because 𝐶iamba has taken the first 2. Those are scratched off the card, and we have to get into the rest of it as fast as possible. He's locked and loaded. Inches from his screen. Focus, isn't he?
assessing the situation early, getting themselves nice and ready for another outing. We have these little establishing shots to some of our squads here, 𝐘𝐸, Tianda. A few teams that are bringing the heat. Noshin Red Force as well, looking pretty good out there in some of the moments of play. Half of 7. It's been a bumpy ride. Topsy-turvy with some of the results we've seen. It's really good for Fury as well, John, right? Obviously, that's kind of the keynote we were hitting down there on the stage. So the conversations we've had, they've been pulling up the stops. Get fired up for 𝐼𝐸. Nice. Good celebration.
He's knocked his headrest off.
That's going to be, doesn't need it.
Comfort issue. Yeah, to be fair, if you land forward, you're fine. It's only when you're out of the game, you're back in your chair. Or at least I hope it is. We'll have to wait and see. Just getting ready, tapping around, playing on that spawn island, waiting for the plane to take to the skies, but I think it's coming through fairly soon. As the lights start to change, the music gains some tempo, and we are gunning for another game on 𝐼𝐸. The plane pass last time was fairly kind, it was fairly chilled out. finals. We still got one more day left though. Okay, I don't have to shed any tears just yet.
Yeah, one more day is definitely a good opportunity for these teams to get it done. And it's so crazy, right? And I think the big reason on top of it why we see so many monster squads in this lobby is because in the group stage, good games were okay. You know, we saw just something special that just made things so wild. I mean, team vitality on day one, vitality was just absolutely insane. I remember talking to like all these different coaches and players and be like, hey, what do you guys think about Vitality's day one performance? And the answer was always, what the? And then they would just fill in the blank, you know?
Yeah, bro.
It was just shock and awe. Like, I don't even know what to even say to it. And I mean, you really can't say much.
No, you can't. Well, I think for Vitality's performance, it was one of the things where there isn't much to say. It's like it is shock and awe. That's essentially what it is. I think there's not much to be said in terms of like what they did wrong or what they did right, because it's just a case of you guys played out your minds. When we see you winning, we're just happy. Yeah, it sucks that we're going to struggle to make our way in now, but goodness me, you guys definitely deserved it. It made Group B very, very difficult for some of the teams. We had such a tight, knit top five when it came down to it. A lot of teams like sitting on that 90-point border up towards, I think, third place, because I believe it was only really Godlike who were able to break out that 3-digit boundary, get up there. But yeah, everyone else was struggling. It was right down to that last game, which did shift up the rankings massively and led to 𝐼𝐸 being here now.
Unreal, dude. Honestly, like that's like probably what frustrates me the most, dude. I couldn't believe it. Like 𝐼𝐸, 39-point game one. How do you break a record like that and just still not make it to the finals? I'm glad I wasn't on the desk there because I would have gone absolutely crazy. But here we go. We're getting to the action. It's 𝐼𝐸 once again catching out 𝐼𝐸 with Yasser getting punished as well. 𝐼𝐸 not messing around here on rotation. Also the BBC 721GS getting to it with the Wolves. That's bringing out back and forth. Looks like one of the Wolves players does get thirsted, so they're going to be stuck with 3. Man, there's a crazy fight going on here because now we see 721 getting in with 𝑅𝐢. There's a battle going on all back and forth.
Well, it totally makes sense. When you get the circle coming down towards the south side, there's a lot of fielded over towards the northwest and down towards the south. There's some very key compounds, some very key areas of the map you want to take control of around these trees. And we already know from watching groups, these players and these teams are not afraid to get stuck in 4 strong areas of the map. And it does cut out a lot of players quite quickly. 721GS, they went down. They struggled off the back of it. Right now, Wolf is trying to rotate on through. 𝐸𝐸 is finding shots over towards 𝐼𝐸. They do lose one player because of that. But yeah, everyone wants a strong spot inside the circle. It's just amused me that 𝐼𝐸 is taking a lot of damage. They're currently playing around 𝐸𝐸. I don't think they expected players to be up towards Church right now, taking shots off of this one. But fair enough to 𝐸𝐸. It's a good, well-laid trap.
Yeah, they're going to hold this spot for as long as they possibly can. Marnet getting popped on the roof there. And he's going to go ahead and get back to safety. Fight timing is what it's all about here at this stage, especially in the survival stage. You kind of get into one of these engagements just a little too early on rotation. Boom, you're getting third-partied, fourth-partied by all these teams that are just desperately hunting eliminations. So sometimes it is a little bit better to try to avoid those fights, unless you know for sure we can finish it out like really, really quick. But it just goes to show you, these rotations are not simple, especially when teams see finally a like normalish zone, right? It's like,
oh, I want the best spot.
Yeah, I want the best spot
right now.
Best spot. Yeah, not second best, the best.
You sort of know how to play these circles. They're not awkward. They're not like split-second decisions. These teams have studied for this type of thing. But yeah, heading down towards the south side, it does feel a bit rough. For Alpha 7, they're currently trying to play off the back of the high ground that's out towards the eastern side of Quarry. But they have since left. Obscure still left behind quite far away. We will get an XO coming in through soon. Where does it head up here, Jukes?
I think we just go dead center. Okay, we go a little bit up on the northern side. Okay, we got a Pachinki field finish. Right to the right side, chopsticks from 𝐸𝐸. You can already see some teams pushing in immediately. You got Alpha 7 there on that left edge, most likely going to wrap all the way to that north side towards Ruins. But man, that Ruins position, not really the best, especially that circle decides to back on south. You know, when I see AWC, You know what it reminds me of, Blink?
What?
It reminds me of like those days when you were doing your homework, preparing for a test.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the test happens, and it's like nothing you studied for.
Yeah, they switched out the papers. Yeah, that's the worst.
You're like,
that is the
what?
worst.
I spent hours studying these certain maps, these little areas, and then all of a sudden, the zones are just going crazy here. Now we're starting to get back to a little bit of the core material. The zone is bouncing back and forth a little bit, but finally it's something that seems familiar here. I think that's why we're seeing so many teams so quick on the rotate.
Yeah, these were in the footnotes.
Yeah.
We had these. I was able to revise. I'm good to go. So a lot of teams are ready to send in those towards here. A lot of teams trying to avoid 𝐸𝐴𝐶 though, which is making a little bit of a vacuum on that northeastern side. Just because no one really wants to send towards 𝐸𝐴𝐶 too early on. You get trapped out there. Very bad time trying to leave. You could play the rooftops potentially and have a little bit of presence, but I think most squads are realizing this is not the play to go for. KRX, that's towards the south side. Not a terrible spot. They're on the cusp of the fields. This is a decent area to work with. It does sit underneath the high ground that a lot of teams aren't really heading over towards just yet. They'd rather try and locate a little bit of a safer position to play. You don't want to be in the open because teams might just end up starting to crash you at that point in time. GOAT team also will find a little bit of a tricky rotation from that south side, which they need to move up full through the fields. The biggest thing I'm most interested in right now is this split from 𝑅_Q. They're trying to control the majority of that western side.
Yeah, that's a crazy split, to be honest. I think, just trying to find some intel, waiting for this next circle to decide where things are going to end up. I'm finally seeing a little bit more traditional kind of circle rotations from Alpha 7. Once they saw that northern shift, they hugged that circle all the way up to the top. So they're going to be taking the blues up here, as we can see. And very, very OG from them. But man, what's going on with them in their end games right now? They've just been struggling. They can get into some decent fights, but even in the last game or this game before, we saw Carrillo, Rebel driving, hitting these crazy shots out of the car. I feel like if they just kind of go back to the basics, you'll see them really perform to their maximum level.
It sort of used to feel like teams would avoid Alpha 7. Like that's a team you didn't really want to bump into. And I think for especially Miramar, a lot of times they kind of suffocated teams out. We do get a northern shift on this one, which means that Alpha 7 is not in a terrible spot. They do control the majority of that northern side. They will regroup on this one, trying to hold out teams, trying to swing around. But yeah, I don't think we've seen much time in the past, like Rebel and Carrillo just dry pushing, no smokes, no nothing, over towards a location. Not like a bit of a desperation move, so we'll wait and see. Again, as we know, they are trying to work some new tactics in right now to make it work.
That's pretty wild to me. I mean, I think right now you're in the survival stage. Do with what you know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you're ahead by 100 points, then you can go and try whatever the heck you want. But right now, it's just making sure you make it into that top 6. But this circle, though, the crowd is starting to get hyped because they know that this is a beautiful zone for them. And meanwhile, we got some teams that are going to have to be pushing from the south side. You got GOAT trying to find their way in. You got Fudia, Nongship Red Force as well, looking for a spot in this next circle. And you can already start seeing some players get knocked here. Catching out 𝐘𝐨𝐶, and that actually is going to be 𝐼𝐢𝐫𝐬 eliminated. So that is really 3 teams out of here pretty early.
Alpha 7 do find shots over towards the 𝐽𝐴𝐿𝐴. So again, good setup from them. They were trying to cut off a eastern rotate over towards the position. I think for them right now, they understand that they were likely one of the teams that he's only on that northern side. A lot of other teams had to make that approach. They didn't have much choice in the matter. So for them, they're like, okay, there's doing some teams probably rotating out from 𝐸𝐴𝐶 here, or at least trying to wrap around on that eastern edge. We sort of know that a team will be holding the compound over towards our southwest side, which is currently 𝑅_Q, and this engagement right here, which is going to pop off, but that's not going to endanger Alpha 7. Right now, though, Foosman does walk around the corner. Killer Joe also with the JS9 doing some good work. Goldie's just cleaning 𝑅_Q out. Now, this is the man to be worried about, though. It is Lepar. He's on his own. Might go terribly. We'll see what he's got.
Chops out the vehicle and hits the shot. No way. He jumps through that window and makes it happen. And now you got Force from GOAT. Gonna go ahead and get this res. But a crazy there from the park. And now here comes 𝐼𝐸RINA, quick on the third party, trying to soak up some of these eliminations. Perfect timing as well. Goat is hurt. They are not looking too hot here. Attorney K up close and personal, looking to catch one of these knocks. Oh, they're instantly thirsting this. They're getting it done. 𝐼𝐸RINA making it happen against Goat. Perfectly timed, and that is Goat pretty much done and dusted here.
Great read from 𝐼𝐸RINA, honestly, moving in over towards this one. This is a team that knows they need points right now. They do not want to have to go out. Good nade as well around the corner. Tries to make this as easy as possible and get the full cleanup on this. There's nobody nearby. Now, for 𝐼𝐸RINA, you do have to think clearly for a second here. They just cleared out 2 teams from the western side. They have so much space to work with. Really good third party off the back of that one. So many teams over towards the eastern side. We had a very eastern playing path to start this off, so they just have a lovely amount of room at the moment. This is beautiful stuff for them.
Beautiful indeed. Yeah, so that west side is clear for 𝐼𝐸RINA. They're looking to get some of their aura back after losing it in the group stage. Wolves, though, there we go, starting to make some noise. 𝐘𝐸𝐿 does pop on up. This is the blessing that Alpha 7 have been waiting for. Honestly, this is no excuse at this point. A7 need to hunt down a double-digit elimination win here. Let's see if that's something that they can close down. On the side of 𝐷𝐴𝐿𝐴, we got 𝐽𝑑IA, though. Ayala up close and personal with AGAL. And the side of Wolves. This is outside the circle. They need to finish this fight fast. Beautiful Molotov. And now AGAL forced to spread thin. But when is 𝐽𝑑IA going to make this push? They are hurt really bad, and they got to get it done quickly.
Great scatter, though, coming through from 𝑥𝐷 as well as 𝐻. Both went either side on the back of that one, ensured they wouldn't immediately get taken down by a secondary grenade. And they're just going to back this off. They don't want to spend any more time here. They see the Wolves are coming in from the western side. Not bothering to deal with 𝐽𝑑IA just yet. I mean, AGL's like, why are you chasing us?
Hold on.
Go fight that too.
Adios. We don't want none of this right now. We'll fight you guys later once we get into this circle. So they set up a nice little car wall here, and they get away. So beautifully played for them. Honestly, that was the right play. They just realized that if we want to extend our life in this game, this is not the place to do it. So now 𝐽𝑑IA are on the hunt. Wolves are forced to move on in. KRX was waiting for them, though. Oh, this is a really, really rough push from the Wolves. There's really nowhere to go here, and they are barely making it out alive for now.
Give the Wolves, it's a mad send, right? I mean, there was definitely an opportunity there to try and just take the fight to 𝐽𝑑IA in the first place, clear out that south side and then play it slow in from the southern edge, then even look over towards Ulf. So for Wolves, I can see they're trying to reach for something. The Alpha 7, though, they have a wonderful spot on the map right now. So much space. The entirety of the northern side, they control half the circle here, Juice. They have to do something big with this. Last game, they were given a ton amount of space on 𝐸𝐸RINA. Didn't bother trying to clear the south side. They're very hesitant in their approach there. Again, they seem to be only looking over towards the east. I would have loved to see a western rollout here from one of their players, get the lineup, see how much space they can take and what they're working with going into the future. As long as they have information, they should be good, because info at this point is king.
Yes, it is. And Carrillo's going to go ahead and really trying to put his king status on. That man has worn plenty of crowns so far, and they're going to go ahead and punish A7 over there by that tractor. So yeah, A7 completely spreading their wings, and now they're starting to get aggressive, right? They're not just hanging back on the north side. They are getting up close and personal, looking to soak up some of this elimination. 𝐽𝑑IA on the drive, full squad in the vehicle, moving up little by little. KRX is badly hurt here, and G's going to start throwing a lot of util, but 𝐸𝐸RINA with the very, very slim peaks, punishing 𝐽𝑑IA.
Tiamba know the position they're in. They want to clear out as much as possible. They cause some casualties right now. AJL, big task ahead of him over towards KRX. Looks like a fairly decently placed grenade. Goes long. Damage it did there towards 𝐻𝐸𝐿. That's rough. Getting another knock there would have been very useful. But Alpha 7 will do the rest of the job. 𝐷𝐴𝐿, extremely long shot here. But this is the thing. Alpha 7, they have this Norman side. They should absolutely just win this game. It's like one of the freest games I've seen in a while. But
it's annoying because, right, you give Alpha 7 a game like this, you know they should win. And you know they probably will win as well, too.
They have to win. It's not even just they will, right? They have to win this. If they lose this, this is going to be just devastating for everybody that believes in this team. We saw a picture of the crowd right there. They're dancing already. They're jumping. They're already doing the victory lap because they know this one is in the bag. So this is A7's game to lose. Let's see how it all ends up, though. As you look over here towards Slaughterhouse, 𝐸𝐸 going to be holding it down with 4 eliminations so far.
Yeah, not a terrible game here from 𝐸𝐸. They started off well. A little trap later towards Church, able to quickly get some shots off. Alpha 7 though, continuing to try and wrap round. They're probably waiting for the circle to pull in from that northern edge. They don't want anyone wrapping on their north side. They'd rather keep everyone on the southern edge towards them, and they can just play full 180 broadside, which is so much easier than trying to deal with snakes in the grass in the late game.
All out A7 has to do is just play old school PUBG mode.
Pretty much,
literally,
yeah.
just old school, tried and true. Nothing needed to be done here special. No crazy drive, trying to shoot people out the vehicle. No kind of wild little highlight reel plays. Just work together as a team. That's where Alpha 7 has been so strong. They've been a squad to where, like, if you knock a player, they feel almost impossible to take out. It's like they get 10 times angrier, and we haven't seen that so much in a while, actually. So let's see if they can get to form here. They're playing it very close together. Rebel going up a little bit here, trying to find some angles on the Mormon on the tractor. That Mormon hits the deck immediately.
Mormon's underneath. We'll take a volley of fire their way. Alpha 7 at 8 eliminations in this game. This should get them back into the running quite quickly.
I'm starting to look over at the util right now. Rebel, I think it's on with about 100 rounds, so that should be enough here to finish this game. 8 eliminations so far. This is a dream game for Ace. Honestly, this is a dream game for anybody in their position, and they're doing very solid here. We'll see where the next circle pops, but right now, everybody just kind of waiting. This is still only Zone 6, but with so much open range, that's why we have so many teams eliminated already.
Hey, for down below, a fairly decent game. I mean, they're in another top 5 scenario.
I think that's a lock already.
Obviously, 4 either. I mean, we're waiting for it. We're waiting for it. 53 points at the moment. I give him another 20 on today, and then we can lock him in. But it would take some miracles tomorrow. At least some devastating maneuvers to go down. Quick switch back towards the player on that north side. Alpha 7 will get them back up again. Again, this next circle is pretty much all about Alpha 7 just holding up this north side, not allowing the wraps come through, because you're waiting for 𝐸𝐸 as well as 𝐼𝐸𝐿𝐴 to be pulled off these compounds towards the southeast.
I kind of like the fact that player from A7 got knocked right there, because I could already see they were getting a little antsy and starting to push up a little bit too much.
Yeah.
That knock was perfect timing because it wasn't too devastating for them. They were able to get the res. It was very inconsequential. But the next zone does center on up a little bit to the south here, so A7 are going to have to push up little by little. But this zone is terrible because it's pretty much all open fields here. Everybody's going to be having to hug the edge, set up some car walls. Look at 𝐸𝐸. They're still out of the zone. We have to push up little by little. They have this hillside to work with. This is perfect for them because they can just sit here, wait for all the other fights to happen, and then get into the mix a little bit later on.
They're pretty cautious at the moment. It's 𝐸𝐸, even dropping the M79 down there, getting some smokes up. Revo's going to try and hold up teams as they leave these buildings. I don't mind this play. I think the Alpha 7 is currently just trying to lock down 𝐸arena's approach, which I think is smart. And Revo, definitely the guy you want on the swivel, right? He is locked in when it comes to sprays. Just need to make sure he hits casualties rather than full commits there. Just wants to slow 𝐸𝐸 down into the future.
I think that's exactly right. I think Revo's the perfect pick because he has such a high PUBG Mobile IQ, and he knows the most important thing right now is just me not getting knocked.
Yeah.
I just got to stay here, apply some pressure, ensure that I do not get taken out, because if Revo gets knocked here, the chances chances of him getting thirsty and Alpha 7, really being at a disadvantage is massive.
Well, when you leave out those buildings as well, where rebel's currently playing is usually the next stop point, right? Around that rocky outcrops, that's a lovely area to work with. He'll probably need to pass that information back in the near future. But yeah, Alpha 7, they just got to keep tabs on basically 3 teams, 𝐸𝐭 𝐸𝐿𝐼𝐶, as well as 𝐸𝐸, as well as 𝐸Arena. They spotted where 𝐸Arena was playing from way earlier. Now 𝐸Amba's even getting involved.
Now getting a little antsy here with that vehicle. He's got to be careful not to get knocked. As the next zone is starting to close. We have 20 seconds left on the clock. I wonder how much util 𝐸Arena have already, because they've been blowing through a ton of ammunition from this angle. 𝑘𝐨𝐮 forced to hit the laydown. He's going to be throwing some smokes, pushing up little by little. Oh, 𝐘𝐨𝐿, he's got a whole bunch of ammunition. So the 𝐸Arena are set up for this one.
He's got a bag, but if 𝐘𝐨𝐿 goes down first, I mean, that's a lot of util just out the window. 𝑘𝐨𝐮 not opting to send these nades close. I mean, I like this from 𝐘𝐨𝐿, dude. Kind of a wild maneuver. 𝑘𝐨𝐮 taking a lot of a bomb at the moment. More nades flowing over the top here. Another nade in the backline with more 𝐻𝐻. Good shot over towards 𝐸𝐴. Oh! Immediately refrag. 𝐘𝐨𝐮 has to know we're going to start placing these nades a little bit closer.
Those vehicles really protecting this arena. That would hurt, though. And that is going to be 𝐻𝐻 done and dusted. Mormon done. 𝐘𝐨𝐿 is the one. Up close and personal. 1v1 situation with 𝐘𝐨𝐮. 𝐘𝐨𝐮 running in the open, shimmying back and forth, trying to find the angles. 𝐘𝐨𝐿 with the laydown finally stands up here. And that short nade hurt him big time. But it's 𝐘𝐨𝐮 that shuts him down.
I mean, come on, man. Still got the nade out. You've got the tree cover. Just pull out a shotgun, something. Make the sprays. Quick peeks around the side. 𝐘𝐨𝐮. Real play from him there. 𝐸𝐸, though, took advantage of that. Will swing around the side. And now Alpha 7, they have full control. What was that?
And just like that, 𝐸𝐸 are looking to win this game. Kevin moving up with that almost blown up vehicle here. They know that they are bleeding. Obscure up, trying to make a play all by his lonesome self. The rebel goes down, and now they're gone. 𝐸𝐸 said, yeah, see you later, Alpha 7. This is our game to win.
But again, like, Alpha 7 takes so long to even do anything in that situation. They could have helped along that fight with 𝐸Arena a lot sooner. A little bit of hesitation almost. I mean, for 𝐸𝐸, dude, 𝐸𝐸 played that game pretty crazily, honestly, towards that end game. But I respected the aggression.
What happened? I mean, how do you lose that? Yeah, look at that. Carrillo scratching his head. He's like, did we just lose that game? It was in the bag. It was in the bag. It was handed on a silver platter. There's no excuses, guys. Like, I mean, come on. These are our previous BMGC champions. At a certain point, we got to hold these guys accountable. You cannot lose that game if you're A7.
With 𝐸𝐴mba there, it's an awkward one, right? I think they assume most of the players are further behind the tree line. They get the first couple of knocks here. It's a bit awkward. I think if they start throwing some nades a little bit closer, might have been a different story. But yeah, for Alpha 7, the game just kind of fell apart almost instantaneously. Rough stuff for them, but they play it how they should do up until that final moment. Again, I think right now, BMWC and EWC, the aggression is at an all-time high. You can't afford to be sitting back here.
Not at all. I mean, they needed to get angry, but instead they're driving around in vehicles looking for intel, getting knocked. I mean, this is just so wild.
Let's go.
I'm netting them.
I don't have car.
I'm netting them.
I'll go there. Go, guys. Go close.
But that looks good.
Go close. Nice boy.
Very nice indeed. And you know what? We got to give the props to 𝐸𝐸 though, right? I mean, they get a couple of clutch knocks. They close it down in a beautiful fashion. They don't hesitate at all. And that's what you need to do, right? I mean, you were at the disadvantage positionally, but if you do end up getting one of those knocks, you got to finish. And 𝐸𝐸 said, you know what? We know how to get it done.
I think we saw sort of the issue there right at the end, where Alpha 7, you 𝐘𝐨𝐿 as well as Rebel, like they're pulling off. I think it was 𝐿𝐴𝐵 actually. They're pulling off from the angle at that point in time. But the difference between them and 𝐸𝐸 there is 𝐸𝐸 is taking control of the game, whereas realistically Alpha 7 sort of let the game control them all the way until those final moments. So by the time they were trying to reassess and replay against 𝐸𝐸, they were already living on massive high. Flew around the side, just hit some nasty shots. I mean, for 𝐿𝐴𝐵 is an incredible player, an incredible talent on that team. Deserves all the love he gets, honestly. But there's no one in survival stage right now. There's no one in PMWC, EWC that can't hit disgusting shots like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, I'm being a little hard on them because
they go to second place.
They got in second place, which is great. It's just it would be devastating if they're the 7th place team by just a few points.
Yes,
and we've seen it happen so many times.
No, I agree.
So that's why it's like if you have that opportunity in the bag and you don't close it, my eyebrows go up quite a bit. You know, like, oh, this is not good. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things bounce back for these teams. But man, one team that's been doing really, really well here is Furia.
Yeah, Fury's done insanely well at the moment. I genuinely have really respected the way that Fury's been playing. It feels very, very different to what we saw in the groups. Let's say that. But I think we'll let 𝐽𝐿 ask most of the questions in just a little bit once he's ready. We're getting teased right now on an interview for Fury shortly. But yeah, overall, we're playing very, very good. Excited for listening with them when we can. But yeah, Tiamba in the top 5. I think they got fairly far into. I think it was maybe a top 4 they got there. They're just churning out points still churning out those points. Anyway, let's head down to the stage with 𝐽𝐿 to hear a little bit more from Fury.
Thank you, boys. Hogging all the stage for yourself. No, we've got Fury. Very important to talk to, as you said, Blank, here for all of this. So let's talk about the day so far as a whole here for survival stage. A lot of. What's your perspective on how the games have gone so far?
Como é que vocês estão sentindo, né?